Corey, it is Tuesday.
It is Tuesday, and that means the most consistent podcast is here.
I gotta say, it's been a long 5 years
It has.
of these voices. And to gift people in the fifth year, I just posted the sign up to be interviewed on the podcast. Corey's been dragging me for it, but now you can. And I'm happy to report nobody signed up yet, but I did post it 2 minutes ago.
She did. But here's the thing. If you've ever tuned into the podcast, ever in your heart, and you're like, you know what? I have a tip, a trick, something that's worked for me, maybe something that the twin said that didn't work for me, or something that the twin said that I do opposite that has worked for me. That is valuable information. Me and Heather only have our two aspects of life. We live in a high populated area, so we can only speak to a few certain things. I don't live in a Midwestern town with one light at the road, but there's so many people that do. You could add a lot of value just by letting us interview you, and it would be easy questions. I'm not going to say, and tell me what your tax returns look like. What I'm just going to do
There's
is
some calculus problems at the end, though.
and I don't even know the answers because I wasn't even good at calculus. But it will just be pre-designed questions just to get to know you and get your perspective as it comes to bakery. And if you're like, well, I haven't been a baker long, I haven't opened my bakery a long time, there's still value in that. I would love to go back and ask questions to someone who's brand new, especially as the algorithms has changed, social media has changed. You have a whole different perspective, and it's a valuable perspective.
Right. I was getting into rug tufting, am, not was, not past tense, present tense, current tense, future tense. But I find myself just lurking in the groups and reading. People are like, hey, this is a big problem I'm having. And somebody's like, oh, you pipe too close to the sun. Oh, shoot, let me go and fix that on my own. So even your mistakes, bless your little souls, would be a great thing. So it's really just telling your story. Nothing, obviously, is easier, peasier, and more laid back than this podcast.
And we'll send you the pre-done questions beforehand, so you already know what to expect. You can review them, but me and Heather are laid back, so the podcast is laid back. I'm not going to be like, can you refilm that question? No, we're just going to just cruise and bruise and just
kind of
make
more
sure.
Your story determines the question. So whatever your story is, if you don't have 5 kids like Amy, we're not going to ask you 5 kid questions.
Yeah.
How do you do it? How do you not pull out all your hair?
If you're tuning into this for the first time, this is the Baking It Down with Sugar Cookie Marketing Podcast, and it's a spinoff from a group that's on Facebook. It's the #1 marketing group for sugar cookie bakers, and it's just a resource. So even if you're thinking about getting into cookies, you took a break and you want to get back in, it's a great place to start and see what people are doing now. And what works for them, what doesn't work for them. And this podcast is just a way for you to listen while you're baking during the week.
Yeah. I'd be curious what brings you to a random podcast on April 14th, but I'm here for it. I like the randomness of your life.
The random. Do you have a quote?
Oh,
Go ahead.
I really do like, no, I don't really like. This is the first year I feel like time is flying faster than it's ever flown.
It flew last year, though.
This is just unprecedented.
Unprecedented flying fast.
Yes. So, Corey, today's podcast is when excuses, kind of how excuses are always there. So the quote is, if it's important, you'll find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse. I love excuses.
Oh, mine best. No, they're not even best. They're just
pretty mediocre. They're pretty mid.
I have a bucket of excuses that are easy that I just grab into oftentimes, like I got to pick up my kid from school. And
I was going to say it out loud. I was like, Corey uses her son as this moving target of an excuse and nobody knows the schedule. So we all have to be like, okay, I don't think it's true, but okay.
Heather loves a good excuse. What's your go-to excuse?
I would to think I always have an excuse, but I laugh at myself even saying them because I know it's such crap.
Here's the thing and why it's the topic of today's podcast. You can have your excuses or you can have your goals, but you can't have both of them. And excuses are delicious. They're juicy. They're always there. When I use one up, another one's just around the corner waiting for me to use it.
The diagram of a juicy excuse is it has to absolve onus. Like it has to absolve, what is it called? When I have to do the thing. Like
Responsibility.
I can move. That's my favorite kind of excuse, like responsibility. Then it can't have anybody try to counteract it. So if I'm like, I have no time and someone's like, well, you were on TikTok last night. No, I can't. I can't. My good excuse needs to be impenetrable to the devil's advocates.
Just
Then
like a Facebook post in like everyone knows the person who does the vague book post. A vague excuse, can't touch her.
because you
Can't.
need it to be able to morph
Yeah.
around like it needs to be able to dodge the people with like good reasons why the excuse is lame. Like, no, it's not lame. So like I'll even catch myself like, "Ah, I just have no time. But I'm like, girl, what? And so as long as I know that the excuse is coming from a made up world, I can kind of see the reality behind it is that it's often coming from a place where I'm scared of failure
Sure.
or I'm scared of trying something new. So I'm going to create this excuse that protects me. That's why I think we hold on to them is they're protecting us from fears, feel of failure, feel fear of like not selling out of a pre-sale. Like, oh, pre-sales don't work for me. That's
Yeah.
an excuse. Pre-sales haven't worked for me because there's something I'm doing wrong. That takes a lot of introspective shift.
It does. To overcome your excuses, you have to have a come to Jesus moment with yourself and your shortcomings. So for Heather to say, "Oh man, there's just no time." If she was really honest with herself, she spent an hour scrolling on social media and maybe an hour researching how
How
to
did you
do
get into
lawn
my
care.
house and who gave you the key?
I just know ya. That twin telepathy thing. It's hard to have it's hard to come to yourself and overcome your excuses and be like, I really honestly, I did have time. Like I did do this and it was more of a priority than maybe doing that. And I chose to do this over that.
I think the great part of an excuse is it's like the first round of protection between this like innocent soft tendy spot. So I'll be like, well, I didn't go to the gym because, I'm really busy at home. I just moved, right? But I know that I actually didn't go to the gym and made up the excuse that I was busy lifting things at home because I was nervous about going to a new gym. I
Sure.
don't know. It feels like you're going back to high school when you walk into a new
Yeah.
gym. So that was really the reason. So I said, okay, you're actually nervous about going to this new gym. That's the reason of the excuse. That's actually the thing you're protecting. Why are you nervous? Well, I don't want anyone to make fun of me. What if there's like popular people? I don't know, whatever my brain said. So I said,
Yeah.
okay, go to the gym, do a once around, get a lay of the land, and then decide if you want to stay or not. So kind of having a one-on-one with me and my excuse we could kind of see where it's actually coming from. And I feel like a lot of times we protect our excuses because our excuses are protecting something about us that we don't want anyone else to find out.
Oh, 1,000%, 1,000%. Oftentimes you always like to say, me and my family are trying to throw money at Corey. She never takes an order. If I had to come to myself and figure that out, maybe it's because I'm worried about disappointing you guys and not being able to come up to your expectations, which I've put on you. Your high expectations, you've not given to me. I've put it on yourself. And now I've made them so high, I'm worried that I
Do you
couldn't
know, like you
possibly.
could slap some grocery store frosting and we'd be like, this is amazing. I'll put that right in my mouth.
But that's what the excuses are something we create ourselves and we give legs to. So we grow them ourselves. No one else is out there growing our excuses and watering them like Heather's watering her lawn. We end up watering our own excuses to make them more palatable, more
Well,
easily.
protected. We can't
Yeah.
have anyone knock them down, although they're fragile built. They're little Jenga towers of like, if one person moves one brick of my excuse one way, the whole thing comes tumbling. That's why when somebody tries to counteract your excuse with logic, you're like,
Oh,
no, I gotta go home. Goodbye. I
I
gotta go
I
pick up my kid
often
from school.
Yeah, I oftentimes see in sugar cookie marketing, someone will bring a problem or an issue they're experiencing to the group, and the group, like the group does, brings its hive mind with solutions to it. I'll see bakers to every single helpful comment come up with an excuse. They're impenetrable. You can't touch them
Because
because they are guarded by so many excuses as to why they can't do this or why
those
that doesn't
posts
work.
were not looking for solutions. Those posts were actually worded as looking for solutions, but wanted validation on the excuse. So when you say, hey, listen, guys, cookie classes can't teach them, there's no place to host, as if like you couldn't technically teach outside. I'm saying you could teach almost anywhere. a cookie class, your own basement. You could teach at a community center. Breweries seem to be hell bent on getting people in there teaching random things. I took a power tools class, and you could sign up to take a sewing class. So I could even have rented out the power tools. Okay.
Yeah.
But somebody's like, well, there's no place. Okay. So then you start coming up, okay, let's try this. No, no, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. I bet the excuse is actually protecting the fear of speaking, public speaking, which is probably, I think they say it's the number one fear of most people is public speaking.
Sure.
So instead of, hey guys, I have a real big fear of public speaking because that makes you feel weak, I guess, it's easier to say, no place will let me host my class. Not even my own house. My own house, they're not even letting me do it. The roadblocks
Yeah.
protect the self-conscious. I don't want anyone to know that I'm actually really self-conscious about speaking in front of people because of XYZ.
Yeah. The
And so you come to the group and you say, hey guys, I have this unsolvable problem. They're like, solve, 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 solve. And you're like, no, no, no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no.
no. And we're like, oh, you never wanted a solution in the first place. Oftentimes I'll find myself just locking those threads because it's a lot of
They're
people
not,
spinning
yeah.
their tires to solve your problem when in reality you wanted validation. And you're not going to find that in a group of business owners who are trying to help you solve a problem.
Yeah. My favorite one that bakers go to is they come to the group and they say, guys, I'm getting no engagement. What gives? And someone's like, you're just not posting during very busy times. You need to make sure that you're posting when your audience is there. They're hit with the excuse, I just don't have time. But I want to be like, you're literally in this group making time for your post.
Well, this is research. I find the one like somebody had it was an innocent question. They were like, I can't get any reach. So I just tagged the collab, which only had 54 people registered. And thank you guys. Now it's at 100 people for the Pipe Apart collab this Friday. But I would say these collabs are every month. You can self-serve engagement because you say, well, how is that going to help engagement? I can guarantee it because the bakers will come and engage with it. That's built into how the collab works. Well, I don't have a park. Corey made me go to a corner store park. It was the most, it didn't even have an address. So yeah, you can go to that. And okay, well, I don't. Listen, if you want the excuses, you don't get the goal. That's what Corey's
Yeah.
initial
Yeah.
statement.
You can have your excuses. And believe me, no one's going to take them from you because we manhandle white knuckle those bad boys. So we don't have to face but if you're like, my goal is, but my excuse is, you're only going to be able to hold on to one. So it's which one do you want to hold on to, the goal or the excuse? The Piper Park is on Friday. And it's so
Yeah.
funny. We've seen a lot of comments in the group saying, a lot of posts in the group saying, I can't get any reach. I don't have any engagement. But none of these people have ever participated in these collabs. I'm going to tell you one thing I hate to do, participate in the collabs. Why? It takes extra time.
Well, Corey
And
had to bake a cookie. We had to meet at a park. She had to invite me because I had the camera. But I think you wanted to go to Olive Garden, so I'm taking that as a win.
two birds,
Then,
one stone.
yeah, then I had to edit the photos, but if she didn't have me, she'd have to edit them herself. And now she has to make herself available on Friday to write a caption and for 1 hour engaged. Yeah, it's work. However, there on the other side is the engagement of which she seeks.
And I want to say the topics that we'll bring today, not necessarily, we know everyone's smart enough to know when they have a good excuse and when they're getting ready to drop an excuse, have an excuse, create an excuse. Our goal today is how to overcome your excuses, your own excuses. This is personal work. You can't even ask us to overcome your excuses. This is all you. So the topics today are how to overcome the excuses in a way that you can find the benefits of moving past your excuses so your goals are tangible and in front of you and not barricaded by all these excuses around them.
Before we jump into these very fine points Corey's got written up here, I want to say the excuse that you have to strike from your memory is market saturation. Market saturation is the best excuse because its solution is murder. There's too many bakers. Like, unless they are dying of natural causes or you interjecting yourself in that cause, you can't solve market saturation. If that it's where I find the baker who doesn't want the solution ends up because it's the untouchable excuse. Like, so you can
Well, yeah,
say,
because it's not about you, it's about everybody
yeah.
else.
And the only solution is literally people passing away. So when someone says, well, it's just too many bakers, I'm like, oh, then you didn't want the solution. You didn't want the
I,
solution of considering how to work around, whether it
as
be, go ahead.
a local baker, a competitive local baker, my favorite thing to hear from my competitors is it's oversaturated because baby cakes. I'm the saturation. And if you remove yourself from my equation, I have one less person standing in front of my goal.
I think Amy had
And
said, if the market's saturated, I'm the water.
yeah,
We had talked
right,
about that. But
right.
it's the best thing for you as the competitor of this person to hear because that is the solution, the excuse, that they will not overcome. So if your competition says the market is too saturated, congratulations, you do not have that person as a competitor anymore. They
Oh,
just
yeah.
stepped out of the ring.
Oh, that makes me happy. When my competitor is like, how can I get more engagement and what
Shoot.
strategy? I'm like,
They're
shoot,
still in it.
shoot.
I
I
gotta work
gotta work
harder. Now, yeah, now we gotta work twice as hard. But
harder.
when your competition says, "Hey, the market's saturated," that's why I can't find a place to teach classes. Be like, "Yes, I know now. I now know there's a place to teach classes because it's where that person's not teaching them
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that person
Yeah.
just came up with the excuse. The most delicious excuse for the competitor is that baker doesn't want to do it. It's too saturated."
It's too saturated. I want to tell you, if you're listening to this, your excuses are valid. They're valid. I'm
They
not
are.
going to invalidate them. Yes, your kid has to be picked up. Yes, you have softball practice. Yes, your kid has ballet tonight. But you're also on social media. You watch your favorite shows. You sit in the kitchen scrolling.
Right.
Your excuses are valid, but you also have to come to Jesus moment with yourself that you are the one standing between you and your goals using excuses between them. Some excuses, we can't get around them. They are truly good excuses.
I'm actually going to jump to Corey's point three and then I'll go back to point one because I think it's so fun. I think it's the best solution. I love an excuse. And then I think the best part about countering that excuse is to laugh about how illogical it is. Like, I've run out of time. You ran out of 24 hours. Like, there's so many hours in a day, but I have this and the other. Yes, but there's all you need to do is let your phone tell you how much time you spent on social media. But you're gonna be like, but I was in Sugar Cookie Marketing Group getting my questions in. You were there for 5 minutes, girl. You were there for 5 minutes. You know, you were there for 5 minutes. The rest of it was doom scrolling and it felt delectable. So the point number three is rephrase your language. Excuses are often masked as I can't. I don't have time. I can't do that. Something's in the way that's immovable. But switch it to don't or I'm choosing not to. And you're still allowed to have the excuse. Like keep the excuse. Be like, hey, I just don't want to do that right now.
I
Don't
do,
want to do
and
that.
that's so hard to put the onus back on yourself because to cast the onus on an excuse, I'm free. I'm free and fancy. It wasn't my fault. It was my juicy excuse to say I'm choosing not to. I want engagement on my page because it's lacking, but I'm choosing not to do the collab on Friday because I don't want to. Well,
Right.
well,
Okay. Well, you're absolutely the thing of it is that I don't want to was always the actual reason. I don't want to, I don't have time to, I don't feel like it. But these majestic excuses, my child needs to be received from the school I sent him to. That one seems like more respectable.
yeah, it's funny because this Pipe Up Park collab, you can go to the park any day in the last month to participate. It just has to be posted on Friday. But Heather posted a reminder about the collab 2 weeks ago, and someone's like, can't do it. Like you
Ran
are
out of time, like the future 2 weeks fully accounted for. Can't swing it.
planning to
Someone
be busy in 2 weeks.
Sugar Cookie Marketing Group, the podcast and newsletter, is still fighting the same algorithmic challenges of every bakery trying to get their posting. But I'll post them. Somebody's like, wow, well, you'd only gotten to me sooner. Like, it's your fault. I can't do it. I'm trying my best. I'm doing what I can. So the excuse, though, will always trump the logic. And that makes excuses illogical. I do believe a lot of excuses are actually coming from a place of illogical foundations. We
Yeah,
didn't run out of time. There's plenty of time. We ran out of willpower. That,
sure,
yeah,
sure,
I run
sure.
I used to, and kind of I can tell when Corey's, I got to pick up my son excuse is loaded of crud,
Yes.
ravioli, because I can see it in your eyes. You knew that wasn't true. But
Now
there's
I
nothing
don't
I can
even make
do.
I don't even make eye contact with her. I just I gotta pick
Of
up my
course, I gotta go pick up my son from school. I like it's 2 in the afternoon. Just leave it off at 2. Yes, today. So we know where it's coming from. I was talking to Ruth Ann about this. Like, I know where my motivation is, and I'm the only one who knows it. I know if it's actually coming from a place of truth. But if I'm like, hey, that Pipe Park collab 2 weeks away, sorry, fully allocated every hour of every day for the next 2 weeks, I know that
Yeah.
is malarkey.
What's funny is we just did the pre-sale boot camp, and in the pre-sale boot camp, a lot of excuses I see is people say my pre-sales just don't work. If I said to you, Heather, if you sell 10 cookies, I will give you $1 million.
You usually send me some 20. Sell 50. Where do I get to
Heather's going to
sell?
be posting it everywhere like her life depends on it. There's $1 million on the line. But what she's not going to do is say, I'm not allowed to post in these groups and I don't know what to post. No one ever clicks on my things. It's too saturated.
I
No.
always find like people are like, most of the groups have rules. Well, you said most of, so you know that some don't. Some of those don't, and your excuse right there, you've accidentally revealed the truth. But even then, we have a whole podcast on how to create community within community groups without selling. But it requires a ton of work.
It does. But Heather, I don't have time. I have to pick up my kid at 3.
Two, one. So in this tip, it said, okay, like I ran out of time. I couldn't go to the gym. I know that's untrue. I know I didn't want to go to the gym. So it says, I'm choosing not to prioritize exercise today because I'm prioritizing sleep. I'm allowed to do that. I'm the boss of
Sure.
me.
Sure.
But that saying, hey, it's not something, if I'm not going to do the Piper Park thing. I just don't feel like it. I know it's going to hurt my engagement and it's a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah. What me and Heather have come to know in our businesses is I said, we know ourselves. Me and
Mhm.
Heather do things last minute. That is who we are. We can say that we're early planners. We're not.
We
It
try.
sucks. It sucks to say like we wait to the last minute on things, but that's who we are. And just being able to address that and know that about ourselves, that's half the problem. So if we know that we are last minute workers, I better make sure that I don't love sleep the last 2 days before a project's due because we're going to be awake for it. But to lie to myself and say, I ran out of time. I didn't. I waited to the last minute.
It's funny. Instead of telling Corey, like, I can't do something, I always say, I'll get to it. And I don't. And then I can see she's like, well, you've been getting to that for 5 weeks now. So the other day I said, the reason, if I'm honest with myself, the reason I haven't gotten to that task is I don't feel confident in it at all. And she was like, well, we can sit down and not feel confident in it together. And I was like, that is delectable. Let's do that.
But because when Heather says, I'm getting to it, I can't help her. She's
No.
getting to it. But when she says, I need help, hey, let's fail forward together. I can help with that. But it's the honesty that comes to yourself and moving past an excuse to honestly put mud on your own face. Because I could look at Heather and be like, you're dumb.
And
No, but I was like,
I think that's why we package our excuses in such a impenetrable way is like, I'm afraid that you're going to see me as dumb because I do feel dumb. And if you say I'm dumb, but when I said to Corey, like, I don't know how to do this, she didn't say I was dumb. She's like, well, I don't really know how to do it either. Let's just do it together. And I was like, oh, great. But my fear is like somebody's going to call me stupid because I am. And
sure,
I don't want them to know that.
sure,
So I'm just
sure.
going to add it to this never ending, like clearly the fifth week, the sixth week of saying, like, oh, it's on my list. It's on the list. I typed it out 5 weeks
Where
ago.
on the list
It's
is
at the
it?
bottom of the list, in fact, would you guess? So if I thought it was just such a refreshing thing, like, hey, I just the reason why it's been on the list for 5 weeks, I just don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm a toddler, and Corey's like, yeah, let's just toddle together. Let's toddle like we did.
And I appreciate the truth that Heather said that versus hearing yet again,
It's
it's on the list.
adding into the upcoming week, it's definitely not going to be done, but I'm going to tell you it'll be done. So I really
It
do like that one,
sucks.
rephrasing the
Yeah.
language.
Yeah. And it sucks. It sucks that Heather said, I'm not good at this, but it's the truth. And we can work with the truth. I can't work with the excuse.
I went to a class that was called Power Tools, Intro to Power Tools. It was the Ryobi Electric Power Tools intro class.
Yes.
And I had to go to a place I did not know with a bunch of men. I thought there'd be more women. There was not. And I said, this is awkward to me. Like I'm clueless.
Yeah.
But then I said, I also spent a lot of money to be clueless. So I'm going to ask the dumb questions. And I'm going to say, hey, listen, this is a dumb question.
Hmm.
But I paid for it. So give me the answer. And they're like, nothing here is dumb. Oh, thank you so much. You didn't make fun of me and have everyone in class turn around and point and say, look, this idiot. So I
Look
think
at her.
I think a lot of it's manufactured anxiety. The brain being so worried about failure that we try to get in front of it in these very odd ways. Let's go back to point one, reverse course. It says use the 5 minute rule. So most excuses are born with the fear of how long a difficult task will be. Tell yourself, I'll only do the task for 5 minutes. This one helps me in the gym a lot.
Jim, and I want to say bakers specifically have the biggest and most grandiose plan. So Piper Park. Honestly,
You know,
it just needs to
exactly.
be
I'm
in
gonna
the shape of a flower.
pipe this mountain range, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna take the mountain range to the top of the mountain. Yosemite happens to be the mountain, and I'm going to take this photo. I have a perfect camera, it's an amazing camera, and I'm gonna take it as the sun sets. So I have to be there at golden hour, which means I'll be hiking Yosemite at night. But yeah, like Corey was like, you know what? I had this big
Yeah.
plan. She's like, maybe at this corner park, there's no address. You'll just have to feel for it. I said, I really need an address.
It wasn't my ideal place. I wanted to go to this other park that has this walking over the water, but it's a little farther away. And I thought maybe I could do this like scene of these birds with this flower in the water to make it look like the water's continuing into my cookie that I made. And I
Wow.
said, you know what?
Fall from
You know
grace
what?
from what you saw.
I'm not going to do that because I've gotten too creative with it. And I see a lot of bakers get hung up on this. You have the AI cookie collab we did. There was like 156 signups. I want to say 70 people showed up because so many people were like, I have this huge plan. I'm going to create a bunny. I'm going to wear the bunny costume. And then you're going to have to guess between me and the bunny
I'm
and the
gonna get one
AI.
of Elon Musk robots to pipe the other bunny along with me while we record. So you can see that we best laid plans.
Yeah.
However, Corey did the MVP, the minimum viable product to get the Pipe Park collab out the door, and we got it. We got it. And most of the goal was met. It may not have been fantastical. She's not going to win awards for this.
I'm
Uh,
I'm not going to bring in a million likes on this, but what I am going to do is I'm going to do the marketing portion of the collab, which ties me to my local area and showcases a great little park for little kids. And guess whose orders I typically take? Birthday sets for little kids. So it still worked. I just had to get in my own way and get out of my own creative brain to make it work for me. Because I see a lot of bakers fall off on this point. Like I was going to, but I never got a chance to. But like the Pipe Park is literally a flower cookie held in front of a sign. You know, it's
yeah,
not.
that is it. So I'll actually be sending you guys that photo of Corey standing in front of a sign with a cookie that I took to prep for you for the Piper Park collab. It's so simple. You're just going to a park, taking a photo of cookie. She chose to be in the photo herself. You don't have to do that. And then you're going to tell people about the park. Ideally, it has an address. Corey's didn't, but it did have a bike repair corner. So we took a photo of
It
that.
has a name, so I'll be able to say on the corner of.
Yeah, Harvard Drive or something.
Yeah,
It was called Harvard Drive Park or something.
yeah, Innovation Park,
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
This one is a good one. Point number two, if then planning. Excuses often thrive in the face of unexpected obstacles. So nobody will let me host a class. One I like is it's like, okay, I'm going to psych myself up to hike a trail. I'm not a hiker. I found part of the Appalachian Trail here in West Virginia,
Yeah,
and it has 5 parking spaces. Like at any given time, it's full.
yeah,
But I can feel myself saying, oh, I don't want to go there if it's too crowded and there's no parking. Well, here's the thing, it's on my way to anything because it's just really close. If it's too crowded, then I don't have to go. But just saying, I'll stop, I'll do it if there's a parking space. Like I'll
yeah.
go there but for a lot of times our excuse would be like, I don't think there'll be a parking space, so I won't go.
And we see so many bakers get caught up in this type of excuse. I don't want to reach out to this venue because they might say no. So I'll just not reach out and just have the no and not teach classes.
Right.
Okay, you have your no,
I
but
won't
if you
follow
were
up
to
with this commercial order. Well, the real reason is I won't follow up with this commercial order because I don't want to be directly rejected. Them ghosting the quote is easier than saying, we don't want to work with you. We found somebody better to work with.
yes, absolutely.
The if then for the parking. If there's a parking spot, I'll hike. If not, then I'll go walk Main Street. Okay. There's no excuse allowed there because if the bigger obstacle, then the smaller thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I reach out to the brewery and they say no to classes, I'll go try this AR workshop and
Yeah,
see.
you've
Worst
you've
case,
narrowed down now your playing field of venues. You have a solid no, so now we can focus elsewhere. But if you never want to get the no, and me and Heather will tell you, no doesn't feel great. No feels bad. We don't like to be told no.
right.
So hearing no over and over again gets you more calloused to hearing no. So where no doesn't hold so much power over you. When me and Heather started our marketing company, we did cold outreach. I've never been told no so much that when I finally got a yes, I wasn't prepared for.
Yeah. You heard it when we had the financial advisor on. He was like, me and my wife, we made a game out of no. And he jokingly said he got rejected by so many women, it was par for the course. Like he was great at hearing no. And I think we had a podcast on falling in love with no. No is devastating, especially when you paint this big old picture of what the yes would have been.
Yeah.
When you fall in love with the yes, the no is the worst. And you see, like, even getting rejected in a dating suite, all this rejection, it makes you feel small. But when you say rejection is part of business ownership, well, it makes you feel normal.
It does. It does. When I used to sell cars, they wanted you to actually run someone's credit before you went out and fell in love with a car. Because if you fell in love with a car and got told no by the bank, hurts a lot more. If we ran your credit and saw what your monthly payment needed to fall under, I was only going to show you cars you could say yes to. So it felt a lot better. We so build up these no's and nobody's going to like me. There's no way they're going to want me to teach at the venue. There's no way that they're going to want me for this corporate order. There's no way I'm going to be able to be at this farmer's market. I'm brand new. Your no is an excuse. You've put something on somebody that they didn't ask for because you just assumed it on yourself. So your excuse is I'm not even going to try because it's going to be a no.
Right.
Me and Heather in 2021 knew did not know the people who ran Cookie Con at all.
No.
But I said, Heather, let's send an email. The
Where's
worst they
it?
can say
Where's
is
it?
no.
No. The answer is already no. The non-yes is a default no. I guess maybe hearing it verbalized makes you be like, well, it's because you don't like me. You just chose to take that personally, right? So back to the if then planning. If they say yes, awesome. If they say no, then I'm going to try this.
Yeah.
So it becomes more of a strategy, the no baked into the plan. If yes, this, if no, then this, instead of if yes, happiness, if no, devastation. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to go. If there's a parking spot, great. If not, that was meant to be not to go this weekend and I'll try it again. I'll do this thing instead. Having the fallback to the initial no that moves the plan forward is a really wise addition. Yeah, the plan restructured. When you got that first no, okay, the original plan is no longer. We have an alt plan.
Yeah. And
But
all.
when we say if I hear no one time, it's done. It doesn't work for me. My area doesn't support it. Well, that's not it because your area you can find the space and not everything fits for every baker. So I'm not like you just got, but a lot of the stuff does fit for most bakers. So that no was just a stumbling block to find the next yes.
In May, we're doing the Main Street Cookie Collab, and that's where you cookify some spot in your town, a small business, preferably, or you could do something else like a statue, a well-known place. Main Street Cookie Collab is hard because a lot of people have done the Main Street Cookie Collab and it's turned into sales. Some people have said, I did the Main Street Cookie Collab. I gave them the cookie of their logo and crickets. Here's the thing. We're only doing the Main Street Cookie Collab so we can get in front of our audience and say, "Look, I live in the town you live in." That's the goal. The cream on top of that, the cherry on top is if you got an order out of it. I see a lot of people are like, "Well, I did it last time and I didn't get an order, so I don't want to do it again." But if you don't, then you will not.
Right.
You will
And then
have
we
a
try to
chance.
bake into the collabs is the engagement, the post, the content, and the potential for future orders. It's all of those things. So if one doesn't show up, at least we got the other three.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think a one win, 1 out of 3.
I'll take it. It's hard to get a
Hey,
win. So,
yeah.
you're guaranteed engagement because the other bakers are coming to engage. Point four is optimize for frictionless starts. I do like this one as well. If I don't have gas in the car, and gas is kind of expensive right now, I'll make up a ton of excuses to not do the thing I actually don't want to do, and I'll blame it on the gas. So,
Sure.
having the car, I past 50 gas stations journeying to this land of West Virginia, I could have filled it up. Filling up the car, now it's a frictionless start to get in the car and go hike. I
Yeah.
guess when I go hiking, I'll report back. But in terms of the business, like no one, like there's so many friction points we can create.
Well,
But just as much as we can create them, we can uncreate them. We
yeah,
can
with the
make
pipe
them.
apart collab. I know a lot of people are listening to this. Well, oh man, well then I'd have to turn the oven on, thaw the dough, and cut it just for one cookie. We're making cookies all the time. You include that extra cookie on your next order that you're making, and there you have a frictionless start. Just throw the little flour cookie in the freezer for whenever you're ready to pipe it, and when you're ready to head out to the park, you're good to go.
I got
Uh,
a tattle on Corey's frictionless start here. It in pure irony, the Pipe Apart collab came from my brain of piping a flower, but Corey's brain came up with the next class kit, which is flowers. So she said to create a frictionless start for this, I'm going to use the cookie from the flower class, and that will be my Pipe Apart cookie. So you're
yeah.
going to see that tulip twice this week.
But do you see that I knew my excuses were going to get the better of me? I was going to have to turn on the oven, bake a cookie, decorate it to be so, and I was running out of time, but I was running into excuses. So what I said was, it's not the park, the ideal park I wanted to focus on, and this isn't the cookie that I had in mind. But I've put those two together, so I will be able to participate in Pipe Park because the benefits outweigh the excuses.
It's the outline's giving some pointers. It's tax day tomorrow.
Ugh, ugh,
Everyone universally gag right there.
gross.
I don't like taxes, have tax PTSD. I think it's a massive weirdness that we all have to try to hire these people who can speak the language of the IRS that we have to pay or we get fined. Okay. I have a massive mental friction point with taxes. So I've created a folder that just says this year taxes. And anything that says important tax document enclosed, I just throw it in there.
Smart.
That way, when it comes time to send this to the accountant, or if you're doing it yourself, it's all right there. The documents are in this folder because the thought of having to find the
Oh,
documents is a massive
gross.
friction point for something you already don't want to do. Remember, the excuse is protecting the this I don't like taxes. It makes me nervous, right? So I hate tax day, but it makes me nervous because I have gotten those fines before. I hate the feeling. I hate just tripping about. I always wait till the last hour on them. So now I have this folder. All my tax documents are in this folder. Everything I need, I know is here. That's a part of optimizing for frictionless starts. Um, then it has a secondary point. It says the one step goal. Make that first step so small, it's impossible to fail. One thing that I was doing with this rug tufting thing, I do find it exhausting. You have to hold this like machine gun size rug tufting gun, is what it's called. And you
Yeah.
have to hold it, and it's so monotonous. And I know this rug, this first rug I'm going to come out with is terrible. I can already feel it in my bones. But I told Corey, if we're failing forward, this is a massive step for failing forward.
Yes. Yeah.
So what I do is I clean the tufting gun. You have to clean and oil it. You should clean and oil it often. I clean and oil it the night before. I vacuum the floor the night before. That way, the next time I walk down there, everything is ready to go.
Yeah.
So I made a frictionless start for something that is not fun. It's not fun being bad at something. Let me
No,
tell you.
it's not. Not fun at all.
This is the final point. Audit the payoff. Every excuse provides a hidden benefit, usually protection from failure, judgment, or discomfort. So ask yourself, what am I protecting myself from that makes me make this excuse? And then once you say that, instead of being afraid of that or not having time, you can address the fear directly. So I don't, I guess if I'm honest, I don't want to go hiking because I'm afraid, like, what if I'm too tired and I'm halfway and I got to go back? What if I can't go all the way back? Like, what if my knees
True.
start hurting?
True.
But I
They
said,
will.
okay, I'm actually a fear of like getting stuck. Well, then only do 2 miles of the 6 mile. It's 6 miles one way, so it'd be
Mhm.
12 miles. Only do
That
2 miles. 4 miles, I
that
know I can
goes
do.
back to point number one. You have grandiose plans that you want to hike the Himalayan
Mhm.
trail,
Everest
but
loves to see me coming.
yeah, but here's the thing, because you have put on this giant goal for yourself, and now you're like, but what if I can't? What if I fail? So your excuse is, well, there's no gas in the car, and the spots are typically taken.
Yeah.
We're just not ever going to crawl over this
Uh,
mountain.
Appalachian, it'll be.
Yeah. An
Take
Appalachian.
it. So like with a cookie class, right? I don't want to teach a cookie class that's too saturated and nobody wants me to toast them. Those are all the made up excuses. We know they're coming from a place of protection, not from a place of logistics. Okay, actually, I don't want to teach a cookie class. I fear that I won't know what to do. Well, actually, Corey and I teach you how to teach cookie classes, and there's a whole Facebook group that's free. So before you say, well, that's paid, crap, that excuse, no, $13 to take the boot camp. You can still buy it. And you could just go to the Sugar Cookie Marketing Group and ask for free. We're
Yeah.
here to help. Well, I don't know what to teach. We're here to help. Well, I don't know how to teach it. We're here to help. All of that stuff is there. The fear of failure, the fear of failure is the true fear here. That's what the excuse is protecting. What if we take away? Corey and I love to come on the podcast and tell you how we failed. That's why we want you to be on the Baking It Down Baker feature and tell us how you failed because we can learn from that. I think every time it was the Edison quote, I didn't fail. I just found another way not to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Your excuses will always be there, and there will always be a new excuse. I know if last time we did the collab, you were too busy, and this time you're too busy. I can almost promise you, next one, the Main Street one, you're gonna be too busy.
Right.
But what are your goals? Because if your goals can outweigh your excuses, you might be able to overcome the excuses to reach your goals. But if you give so much weight to your excuses, they'll always be the thing that wins. And you'll always have them. You'll be comforted by your excuses. Me and Heather, knowing that we wait to the last minute on things, just knowing that has been able to help us overcome those excuses because we know who we are. If I know I'm busy, too busy for these collabs, and Heather's already posted the Main Street Cookie Collab even now, I can't say in the next month I have no time whatsoever.
I removed that
Zero
excuse from you
hours.
all.
The funniest thing to me is pre-designed excuses like, oh, in 5 weeks I absolutely cannot. I will be way too busy. Like, how do you know?
I really have done my best to bake out the ability to have excuses. Well, I don't know what to post. No, I write it for you. Well, I don't know what I should take a picture of. No, Corey and I took it a week ago. I'll show you what it is. Well, I don't have time. Schedule and then come back and engage. Well, I like, dude, I don't know. At that point, just say, I do not want to do it. And I understand it will hurt my Instagram engagement. Well, I'm not on Instagram. Get on Instagram. It takes 2 seconds to create an account. Whatever your excuse is, you can keep them. Keep them, protect them, love them, kiss them, squeeze them, put them to bed at night. But understand that every excuse costs you something. Every
Yes.
excuse costs you the win. And the win might be a small win, but that excuse is costing you that.
I want to say though, as excuses, because we've probably used them over all of our entire lives, so they're just kind of
I'm
baked into the
proficient in
map right
excuses.
there.
This is my second language.
Really, really good. What you can do is celebrate the small wins. I have been a gym goer for a bazillion years, but just this past year, I've decided to overcome my excuses and really push myself. What's so funny is my husband's like, wow, you usually sandbag. And I hate that phrase. And I had to Google it back when he first said it to me. Sandbagging means you don't try hard and they're big bags of sand. So like you don't try the most because you're scared either it'll hurt, you're scared you'll fail at it, but you're never scared that you might get it. So he said, this past year you just haven't been sandbagging. And it's just I said, well, because sandbagging means I was in the way of my goals, and I don't want to be the person that stops me from my own goals. I made the goals. Why would I hold myself back?
The only thing worse than going to the gym is, oh, then not going to the gym is going to the gym and wasting your own time. Like, then you didn't accomplish anything and you wasted time. And I can speak from a place of knowledge because it's what I typically do. But you say, what do I want? I love the $1 million. If you could get paid $1 million, what is the effort you'd put in? And it would
Oh,
look a lot different.
yeah, I'd be making time for the gym. I'd be like, sorry, Heather, I gotta go. My
I'd
kid's
be
gonna have
like
to walk
7 a.m.
home.
You'll find me at the gym and
Heading to the
7
gym
p.m.
right now.
So,
Excuses are normal. They're always going to be there. You're always going to be busy. I've realized that the amount of times that I say I'm busy has never stopped. It's just always there because I know how to fill up my time with something else.
right.
Your goals for your bakery, for your business, for yourself are made by you, just as much as your excuses are also created by you. You just have to weigh in your hand which one matters more, the excuse that I have today or the goals of tomorrow.
And I don't
Breathe.
want to villainize excuses. I think they're
No.
delicious. I think you should I think you say, here's my excuse. And the reason why I've made up this in imaginary roadblock is because I don't want to go. So I'm going to
Yeah.
laugh. I'm going to laugh to myself. I'm going to say, that's my excuse and I'm keeping it. And then I'm going to say, secretly in the back of my head, here's what it's protecting. And I'm okay with that right now. I'm okay with the loss
Yes.
that this excuse is creating in my life or my business or my relationships. I'm going to protect the excuse right now. And then maybe I'll do some interpersonal work of investigating why I'm so scared of what's on the other side of that excuse.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. That interpersonal work is like not fun. It is not fun at all to say, here's my shortcoming, here's where I'm scared of, here's what I'm worried about. It's not fun to come face to face with that, but it's much easier to say, well, I can't because XYZ. Well, I don't want to start it because here's why.
What if you came to the sugar cookie marketer group and instead of saying, hey, nothing's work, and every time somebody gives you a solution, you say, no, I've tried that, it doesn't work. You said, hey guys, I don't want to teach cookie class. I'm so nervous that that people will hate it. And then let us solve for that because that's
Yeah.
what we're actually saying. Remember, I told Corey it's on my task list, but in reality, I don't know how to do the task. So that's why I was just kicking the can down the road. It's always that funny trope in relationships that the man tries to solve it, but the woman just wanted to vent.
Yeah.
It's this YouTube video, and she's talking to her boyfriend. She's a giant nail in her head. Of course, it's all like CGI, whatever. And he's like, but you have a nail in your head. She's like, stop! I don't want to solve the problem. I just want to talk about the nail in my head. He's like, but there's a nail in your head. She's like, stop fixing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she just wanted the excuse. She didn't want to solve the problem. So ask yourself, do I want to ravish myself in this excuse and it's all deliciousness and it's syrupy good taste when the rest of us are like, oh, that's an easy one, you just got to walk this way, not that way, and you're like, no, 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 no. Don't solve it,
Yeah.
just listen to my pity party. I love my pity party. Yeah, so I'd say if you do have an excuse, chuckle to yourself, say, here's what I'm really doing. I know that I can get around this. I'm just going to keep my excuse. I'm going to
Yeah.
acknowledge that this excuse is cope and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. What's so funny is uh I didn't like to get ready and do my hair in the morning. And I love to say because I don't have enough time. Girl, wake up early. Ain't nobody holding you strapped to the bed.
I can't get out. Netflix is cool.
For the past month or two, I have made the effort
I
in the
have
morning
noticed.
to get to because one, it helps me feel better. If I needed, like the other day, I had to go into the orthodontist office. I felt confident going in there because my hair didn't look bedraggled, you know. So it helps me as a person
Are you
to
looking
do.
at my hair as you say that?
My hair doesn't look like Heather's bedraggled. But it took, I can say, oh, there's just no time in the morning. I just run out of time. No, girl, that is you, baby cakes. That is you, my friend.
And
So
you are
now,
allowed to, as
yeah,
long as you acknowledge that the repercussions of the excuse are likely not what you want your life to look like.
the great part though about overcoming your excuses is then you start experiencing the little wins. The
Mm,
goals are getting checked off and you're
mm.
like, wow, oh, I took my excuses out of the gym so I could not sandbag at the gym. But my what's happened is I have more energy during the day. It's been fantastic. I never feel like the crash in the afternoon where I'm yawning. I'm like, wow, I have so much energy. I'm having to put myself in the bed to go to bed.
You
So you're
have
gonna
said, like I said to Corey, like I get the gym thing. Corey is saying, I want to focus on the gym because we're going on a family beach trip in June or something. And I said, okay, well, like what happens after June? And Corey's like, well, I feel actually so much better during the day and I sleep so much better at night. I think I'll keep it going. So great. Okay. That excuse that she wasn't going
yeah.
before was keeping her from this apparently world's best night's sleep. I went on a walk with Corey. Might as well have been the hike up the Everest because it was up everything. I said, did you only pick upward trails?
It was
How are
so
we
funny.
always climbing?
We were going up a hill and Heather is like, I'm just gonna have to talk to you at the top.
Yeah, Corey's got one this pace that's ridiculous. And we're up a hill and I'm trying to like tell her life secret. And I was like, wow, dude, I'll have to tell you later. Like, I'll check in a minute when I learn how to breathe again because I'm dying.
But you're gonna see, you're gonna have little goals. So maybe you do the Piper Park collab and it's not the best cookie you've ever made, and it's a little corner park that maybe not many people go to, but you do it and you see an uptick in engagement that day. Now you're not making bazillions and turning into an influencer overnight, but then you do the Main Street Cookie Collab and you're like, wow, a business actually recognized it and shared my post. That I my posts never get shared and I got shared in. Their audience is my audience and I got a few followers from that. You're going to see these small wins as you move past your excuses. And the goal is to retrain your brain and fall in love with those because those are where you're really going to be happy. You can fall in love with your excuses and you'll always have them. But if you can fall in love with the repercussions of meeting your goals and overcoming your excuses, it's addicting. It is addicting.
It is. It is. So. I would say you know what your excuses are. I have my own collection. Love them. Keep them. They're toddling in the
Sometimes I borrow
background.
from Heather's collection for
You know what are
my
my
own.
excuses? I'll give you one. You know what your excuses are. You know why you're saying them. Only you know where they're coming from, what they're protecting, that little inside secret you don't want anyone to know about. Just a heads up, a lot of us can see that excuse is protecting something, but what it is deep down protecting, you know.
Yeah.
And then ask yourself, what if the other equation? What if I do fail? Do we all vote you off the island? Probably not.
No.
Maybe your anxiety has given that little fearsome legs and it's climbing Everest with me. Boys
Yeah.
walk. So
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Worst case, what? Heather turns around after 10 minutes, heaving and hawing, maybe gulping water down.
Right.
That it's still not a failure. She got out there and she actually climbed for 10 minutes. She got closer to her goal than she did if she just drove by the park because, whatever excuse, the fuel, the parking spots, the day, the time.
No, I know. So that is what I would take into this week. And I would take it. I know we talked a lot about the collabs because that's where I see a lot of people come up with the excuses where I'm like, dude, it's going to a park and taking a photo. Like I can see through the excuse already. Like you got 5 weeks run time. I write the captions for you basically. You just schedule it. Like there's very few legs the excuse can stand on. That's why we're talking about the collab, but it goes to cookie classes. It goes to that set. It goes to learning that complex floral lettering, figuring out projectors. Yeah, your excuses can keep you underpaid, beginner mindset,
Oh,
hobbyist. Yeah, it
yeah.
can keep you that way. And if that's what you want, that's what you're going to get. You're not going to see me argue with you because you're one less competitor we have to worry about.
Yeah.
However, the business that you want is on the other side of those excuses.
Yeah. Yeah. And that would be great if you got the business that you wanted, something that didn't hold you back, where you didn't hold yourself back from your own goals. And me and Heather, we're excuse 101, 102, right there, born and bred.
I asked Ruth Ann this question. I said, if you could press a button and see 6 years in the future, would you press it? And she said, absolutely not. I said, it's curious. Why? Because she's always, worried about the future. And she's like, because I would hate to know how bad it's going to look. And I was like, that's so funny. What if it's so great? What if it's
Yeah.
the best ever? It's so funny that your brain naturally opted for it's going to be terrible. And I think with the excuses, those people probably naturally have a tendency to see the worst case scenarios. So what if you go ask them if you could teach a cookie class and they said yes?
Oh,
Well,
what if you make your first cookie classes and you don't sell out, but you get four people to sign up? That's way better than zero.
that's
That's way
four
better than
more
zero.
monies you've made than not doing it. They're just saying probably anxiety has a big role in excuses. The fear of this, the fear of that. We always say the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of no. But there's a 50% chance you get a no, but there's a 50% chance you get a yes.
Yeah. And there's some people out there that are born and bred to just ask because they know the answer's no regardless. So if they ask, it might be a yes. And
Sometimes I
I
have to
wish,
tell myself that, like, this person's probably doing this to everybody, and
yeah.
they're expecting a no, but it might be a yes.
And they probably get more yeses than they do no's.
Uh-huh, yeah. And they're not taking no's personally. That's why they're so willing to risk it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, if unless Corey has something to add, I'm going to move us on to our Cookie College boot camp. I have a review. Amy took the boot camp, the pre-sales boot camps, and she says, you guys, if you've never used Google Forms or offered a formal pre-order before, you really should spend the $13 on the pre-sale boot camp. This is a great value add to me. I feel like my form looks so legit and professional, and I literally just created it step by step while following along the PowerPoint and doing what Heather Miracle told me to do. LOL. Follow me. Yeah, I will show you the way. So the boot camps are only $13. However, you can upgrade to the Cookie College if you sign up for a boot camp within the 7 days of the boot camp. You get a discount code. So Amy said, hey, I just took the boot camp on pre-sales. She gets about 6 hours of coursework for just $13, and she gets worksheets and she gets prompts. She gets to join the private Facebook group. So it's a lot of bang for the buck. And the reason why we do that is so you can preview what the Cookie College membership looks like.
Yeah.
So we said, how can we pull back the curtains on the Cookie College and let people taste test it? And this is the boot camp. So the boot camps all get put into the Cookie College. If you sign up, you get everything we offer. I did a Get to Know Your Membership 101 live yesterday, and there's just so much content. I told people it was only going to be 30 minutes, and it took an hour. And I feel like the whole time I was just telling them where, what, and how everything works.
Yeah. The next boot camp is actually all about printing, 3D printing
Do you
your
want
own
to
cookie
tell them what
cutters.
you learned this weekend?
Yeah. Oh, here's two things. I got a last minute order from a brand I really always wanted to work with. It was like a dream brand. I was never going to reach out, but they reached out to me and it was a last minute turnaround. But it was Coach. So Coach brand purses, things like that, wanted me to make cookies for them. To make it even more custom to them, I was able to make custom cookie cutters for the shapes that they desired, making me even more valuable to this corporate order client so that maybe down the road, when it comes to her ordering again, she's going to consider me. If I would have not had a 3D printer, one, I would have had to make a custom order. Let's say on Etsy, was most people go to, the turnaround time would have been a few weeks. Unfortunately, I only had a few days. Would not have been able to do that without a 3D printer. And that is what this next boot camp is going to be about. Heather is going to order a Bamboo A1 Mini with you guys. It's going to arrive. She's going to set it up on camera. Visual learners, this is going to be your heyday because you're going to be watching it. This week, I ran out of filament and needed to replace my filament. Easier than I thought, but it was so nice to watch someone do it and hold my hand while doing it.
We held hands and I press
We held
reload.
hands and then we pressed thumbs together on the refill
Reload.
filament.
And then I went doo 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 doo. That Bamboo A1 Mini. They discontinued the one that I have, but the new one's Sing to you, which I thought was a little nice. Sounds like a washer dryer combo.
It does. It does. But I want to say, if you're looking at a way to get more corporate orders, being able to have these custom cutters for your clients is a great way to really set. If you think it's oversaturated, I'm going to tell you, if your competitors don't have custom cutters and you have custom cutters, that's a way to put you above your competition.
Yeah, it's if you could get this, so the 3D printing, Intro to 3D Printing Bootcamp is not only just setting up a printer, we'll actually design an STL and we'll print it. That's May 7th and 8th. So you get 2 days. It'll be $13. And then you'll get that discount code to upgrade to the Cookie College membership and get all the future boot camps included, plus your $13 back as a discount code. Why am I so out of focus?
Because your hand keeps going in front of
You
it.
know what? I have it set, I think, to focus on animals. I think I was taking a picture of the
Here's
cat.
here's an interesting thing that happened. There's a boot camp that I did about food photography, specifically sugar cookies. Our local foodies group, about 150,000 people, and they're just banned AI content. So if you have an AI generated photo,
Fire.
AI generated food
I
photo,
think they even
or
said copy.
yeah, they even said the copy, that would be a great one. People buy what they can see, what they know that you can create. So what you can create is the thing that you want to showcase in your brand, and it makes you individual and it makes your brand stand out. The food photography one, I take you to the basics, just the easy old Bo Beasy basics that you can use these photos for years to come, especially as people are deciding where they land on AI generated stuff.
Yeah. So if your excuse is I can't afford the Cookie College, bam, it's $13 for these boot camps, and you can upgrade to the Cookie College for a discount. So that excuse is for the birds. We
Birds.
knocked out another excuse for you. You can sign up for that bootcamp at thecookiecollege.com/bootcamp or go to thecookiecollege.com and then you can purchase that ahead of time. And when it drops, you'll get an email. Our upcoming bootcamps will be 3D printing cookie cutters. They all try to fall in the first week of the month on the last 2 or 3 days. So that's how I try to structure it for you guys so you can kind of expect them. So if somebody's like, why are they so close to holidays? They're not. They're just in the first week of each month is what we're shooting for.
And I want to say that's also an excuse. There's always a holiday.
I know.
There's a holiday every single day of the year because there's
Holiday coming, a holiday,
holidays.
going, a holiday is. But you can rewatch the boot camps endlessly now because you guys said 7 days ain't enough. You get all the days.
Yeah.
So as long as the product is supported, you can go rewatch it. Boom, another excuse down the drain.
Bam, bam.
After that, we'll do June. You guys begged, I pleaded, and we got her to do the basics of recording cookie videos. It'll be very much like the photography course. I said, Key, I want you to take us to a website, order a stand, show us how to set up the stand, show us how lighting works, and show us how to record something and how to upload it. So it's the basics. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Tell me what to do. Tell me like I'm a little baby toddler.
Yeah, little baby toddler.
I said to Corey, in this rug tufting world, everyone is talking so advanced. I wish somebody would talk to me like I'm stupid because I am. That's what I need, the basics. So that'll be in June. July, we'll do cracking community groups. I like that for July because it's a little bit of a slower time for people. Also, it could set us up in July for what's coming, the Super Bowl of cookies, which is Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And then in August, we're going to touch on Procreate, designing sets with Procreate, and just tell you how, here's the app. Here's how to download the app. Here's how the pencil works. Here's the iPad I would purchase. And we'll go from there. Kind of the basics of that. We'll talk about layers. We'll talk about pencils, pressure, Procreate.
See, that would be good for me because I said if anyone asked me to draw up the designs beforehand, they would not order from me because of my drawing. It's so bad.
So somebody said, wouldn't that take more time and thus more money? Yeah, I would only design or sketch a set as a top tier. We did tier pricing, and I would
Yeah.
make that a top of my highest tier. And somebody would have 2 rounds of a change log. So you'd say, here's your first set. Hey, I want to make these tweaks. Okay, here's what it is. Finalize the order, charge accordingly, and then do that. And some of you
Yeah.
guys love to just sketch and design. It's probably because you're talented. The rest of us struggling out here. But I'll tell you the basics of Procreate. The talent is on you, though. And I can't provide that because I don't have it myself. Moving on to the gossip column.
Goss call.
This one says Thief in the Right. I like these little titles. This one was from forever ago, but when I first got started, I do what most bakers do and I post in community groups to get sales. But this local baker, who, yeah, she had a year up on me, would comment snide remarks about my bakes, my designs, or some made up cottage law she was trying to flex. But the more interesting part was she would insinuate that I was stealing her designs, but the designs were just basic shapes like pumpkins for Halloween or Santa for Christmas. Outside of the fact that we were both literally baking a Santa, there was no design stealing. It was literally just the holiday. So I finally had a blocker. Who knows if she's still out there telling people I stole the Easter Bunny, the 4th of July, and the Declaration of Independence. Just call me Nicolas Cage.
It's hilarious.
So you kind of see that a lot. And that's how I think we did a podcast way at the beginning. It was called like putting blinders on.
Yes.
It's easy to look over the fence a la home improvement show
Yeah.
and say, what are you working on? Oh, you stole that from me. I haven't seen some bakers have seen it in the past, been like, that was my idea and they stole it. Like you didn't even execute on it. They did and they stole your
Yeah.
content. Like how would they? Someone's like, it doesn't matter what I do, they come out with it. You could, that could happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I've seen it happen with Corey. Corey be like, it's so funny. I wrote this copy and this person just stole the copy exactly. Like, and it's annoying. But if you're gonna focus looking over the fence, you will drive yourself crazy. I was telling Corey the block button, my new
Oh,
feature.
it's delicious.
Yeah,
It's delish.
I suppose sing in a car group, just an opinion. You're allowed to have them, I guess, not on social media. And some guy's like, "You're dumb," and I was like, "Bach, you don't deserve access to me. We'll never be friends in real life.
Yeah.
You have your opinion, but you wanted to call me stupid." And instead of taking that personally and never asking the question, I was asking what time a car meet started. I just blocked him. I moved on. My life was better for it. So I would
Do
not be
you
opposed.
ever revisit your block list and unblock? Or is the block eternal and forever?
I forget. I have a bad memory. I don't know why. I look at the block list and I'm like, you were there for a reason. I may not
Yeah.
remember what that reason
I
is,
gotta
but I
trust
trust
past me for future me.
me did something for future me, and me's gonna respect what past me did. Yeah, I can't really remember things. Too bad you can't add a note like this person laughed at my comment and I didn't
Yeah,
like it.
I know.
So yeah, if you guys want to submit to the gossip column, I'll post that link. I'm gonna add it to the sugar cooking marketing website so it's a little easier to find. Upcoming events, we have the Pipe a Park collab is actually this week, and the Main Street May collab will be May 22nd. If you guys think those dates are weird, it's the third Friday of the month.
Yeah.
Just gotta if you guys can see, there's a structure there. The first week is the boot camp, the second week is the class kits, the third week is a collab, and the fourth week is probably the digital downloads. But events, what's popping? Concord and I are going to be heading to that on Saturday. We'll be talking about standing out. We'll probably do a podcast on it when we get back, but standing out in a news feed, which is kind of what marketing is, especially when a lot of our lead generation is on apps like Facebook, where feeds are prevalent.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so easy to be like, well, I did what the content calendar said and crickets, but there's strategy behind the way you post it. And that's the
Mhm.
goal.
Yes. Uh, so that is this weekend. I think they still have tickets if you wanted to show up. I think they also have day passes, but you can go check the What's Popping Con website. It's super cute. Upcoming is Cookie Con in Orlando, and there's a Cookie Con happy hour sponsored by Heather Campbell Brookshire. That's on June 24th. That's also when Cookie Con starts. That's in about 10 weeks.
And
Year
since
is
it's in
flying.
Orlando, Heather Campbell Brookshire is a Disney planner. If you want to just two birds, one stone it,
Hmm.
bring the kids and the old spousey down and
See you
cruise
some
around.
mice. See you some mice there. I think Cookie Con at that Rosin Shingle Creek Hotel has a shuttle to Disney Springs,
Yeah,
which I
it
think Disney
does.
Springs is well. What is that
Disney.
restaurant that we love, that I love?
cannot remember the name.
Corey, it's
To
some about
save my
flesh.
life. It's the
To
Boathouse.
the Boathouse. I love that restaurant. So if you're down there, you should definitely check that out. And the Vendy Blendy is in 32 weeks, ever creeping closer to us. I remember when I said it was 52 weeks away, and now it's 20 weeks
I
closer to it.
know.
Upcoming holidays, Teacher Appreciation Week, always a big seller. Nurse Appreciation Week, I think those are in just about 2 weeks. Mother's Day coming up in 4 weeks. Graduations, dependent on your local area, but 8 weeks, and last day of school about 9 weeks away. Father's Day is June 21st. Summerween. Corey and I added this to the list because it seems to be a holiday gaining
Growing.
popularity.
Growing, yeah.
Those Halloween cutters, you could get two squeezes out of them. Two squeezes out of
I
them.
see what I see bakers are starting to do is pre-sell their countdown calendars. They're like advent calendars, but technically called countdown calendars for Halloween in July
Oh, I could
as
see
a
that. I could see
yeah.
that. A really early pre-sale.
People do that Christmas in July, they
I
do it for
know. Oh, that's a
that.
good point. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
the 4th of July is in 12 weeks, which hit or miss whether or not you can sell out. I always find that to be the platter holiday.
We finally decided to do another class in July. This is just the theory is July a bad
Well,
class
it is
month.
not a 4th of July class that we're
It
teaching. We're
isn't.
doing the free frosting fruits class that was included in the in-person cookie classes boot camp. So even another excuse. Well, I don't know what to teach. That $13 boot camp. Bam! You get the class I'm
Bam.
actually
And
teaching.
it's cute. Grapes, pear, lemon,
Pineapple.
pineapple. Was there a cherry or strawberry?
I think there's a cherry.
Maybe a cherry. I don't remember
I'll
strawberry
have to
because I
see.
would have not liked to do the seeds. I can remember if I know
Yeah,
myself.
yeah. So that's the upcoming events. The STL me about it. You guys have some great texting questions. Corey, 1 through 4. We have 4 texting questions. If you guys win this, you get a month of Cookie Design Lab, which is the STL design software I use to create Corey's Coach cutters.
Yeah. Coach, and it worked out great. It worked out great. They're super solid. I actually used Cookie Design Lab a lot this week. I had a Nerf gun set I used, an
Nerf
airplane
gun
set I used it
sets.
on. Yeah, yeah, it's
Corey
a
and 3D printing, much like Google Calendar, she has kept you at arm's length for so long and now
I
has
know.
become your favorite fan.
Listen, my excuses of I just am
You
not techie. I have moved past them, and my world has just opened up an opportunity.
follow me, my young grasshopper, and I'll teach you the ways of the Cookie Design Lab. Code TWINS at cookiedesignlab.com gets you 15% off. And you guys wonder, they do pay to sponsor the podcast, but I pay to have Cookie Design Lab myself. So we got a little
Yeah,
symbiosis there. So I've got 4 text-in questions.
too.
2 is 513, which I Googled was Southwestern Ohio. 513, email me at sugarcookiemarket.com. I'll put you in touch with Cookie Design Lab. She said, oh, I like this one. Just popping in to say, I love the collabs. Thank you for organizing it. Thank you so much because there's a lot of footwork in organizing a cookie collab to make sure that you guys have the information you need to be successful, to make
And
sure that it's
Heather always
organized.
makes me do it sooner so she can send you an example. So I feel
Yeah.
even more pressured to get it done.
That is on my docket to send out today. I just have to wrap up the cookie class kit for this month, which is called Frosted Flowers. It's a long stem florals class, which is something we never do. But I think it's very delicate and very pretty.
One,
Perfect for
you'll
Mother's
use
Day.
these cutters
For your
long
Park
after.
Collab.
Long
I was saying,
after.
because it's not called Mother's Day, you could use it for Mother's Day. You could use it for spring. You could use it as just a florals class. There's no like specific theme around it other than flowers.
Yeah, just flowers. And they're very, very pretty. And the reason why there's 5 cookie cutters in this one is the cookies are very large. And that was so you had the purpose that you weren't working in such tiny sections as the top of the flowers. So they're good size. They all needed to fit in a box is, the problem to take
Still
them
an
home.
intermediate class because we have a lot more icing bags. But yes, the first class we have with one fewer cookie. So it should save you time and on prep for the class, it should save you dough. It should save you teaching instruction time.
Yeah,
Time is money.
it's very pretty. I really, really like it.
So anyways, yeah, that collab is the next collab is Spy Park. It's this Friday. And then Main Street, you'll have full 4 weeks to go do that. Which one did you say? What were you thinking of
I
featuring? Oh,
haven't
yeah.
decided
Let's do the
yet.
bourbon and fig. Let's do
So we go and eat there
We
as well.
must. How can we
We must.
recommend it if we
For the
haven't tasted
collab, of
of it?
course.
Anything for the collab. We must do it for the collab. Another text I have, this is from the 281. You didn't win, but you could try again next week. I feel like the odds are ever in your favor. Hi, I love the recommendation for the book Dollars and Cents. That's what I talked about on the last podcast. And I have put it on my Audible lineup, but I wonder if you have any more book recommendations for things that might help in marketing our cookie businesses. Thank you so much. I actually pre-looked up your question, and I have 3 books that I've read. Some of these are bigger than others. So I'm so sorry that I've listened to. Let me correct myself. So these are on Audible. Predictably Irrational is the same author. Some of the concepts are shared, but both are great listens, and he's very easy to listen to. Thinking Fast and Slow, that's the chonky book. But if you have anyone recommend that, it's about our brains and decision making as it comes to the psychology of purchasing. And then
Yes.
Influence by Robert Cialdini, I really liked that one as well. All 3 of those are out of the parks. And then if you add Dollars and Cents, you'll have enough of these little anecdotes I pull from to sound just like your own Heather Miracle. A yappertunist. We have a text in
A
from the
shepherd.
224. Hey, twins, social media marketing question. This is Tracy from Sugar Bees. And if I remember correctly, Tracy was the one who flew the cookies to deliver them on time. Remember that
Oh,
a couple
wow.
years ago? I
Yeah,
think
I
it was
do
great.
remember that.
Is there an MVP, a minimum viable posting approach to social media? It's so overwhelming. Do I post daily? Do I post to all my social media, stories, reels, static pics? Is there going to be a boot camp on this? If not, then there should be. Tracy from Sugar Bees. Yep. Oh, so sorry. She said, yep, I'm the one who flew to Miami to meet a customer in the
She's probably like,
airport.
Heather always says I'm the one who flew.
Just like any excuse you have about customer service,
Yeah.
Tracy Dunn just knocked it down. She,
Here's the thing.
oh, yeah, I
There's
didn't feel
about,
this. She
huh?
met a customer. She has. I have to finish her
Oh,
closing statement. Yes, I'm the one who flew to Miami to meet a customer in the airport to hand off her cookies as she was on a layover to her final destination in Europe, and I didn't want them delayed in customs if I shipped. LOL. Okay,
wow. That's wild. Way to go.
way to go.
There's strategy in posting. You can post endlessly and it do nothing for your business. You just end up clogging feeds and almost annoying your audience. If there's strategy behind the post, I would much rather fewer posts than there is just throwing something up there just because it's the next day. The least you could do is a post a week, and I've seen bakers do even less. It depends. What is your goal in your business? Are you happy with the orders that are coming in and any more would drive you nuts? Then you're going to post less. Is your goal to create long-term relationships so the same orders come in every single year, year after year? We're going to do more relationship based. That would be a great boot camp topic. And maybe that'll be something we touch on in the how to crack community groups type thing.
Well, at the end of each boot camp, we have a marketing module because it has to be about marketing because that's a part of the sugar cookie marketing name. Here, there are different theories and approaches to the type of content. In a perfect world, we'd have perfectly curated content, perfectly designed in the perfect aspect ratio for every platform. I work in marketing and there's not enough time in the day. And that's not even an excuse. It just takes time to generate that content. So what you can do is cross post and understand, hey, my excuse here is I didn't have the time and I know I'm not going to get the best amount of reach here. Corey said today, she's like, you're posting like so close. You're posting one and then you're posting another. And I said, yeah, but if I don't, I'm not going to post a second one. So that's my excuse.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
holding on to the fact that she's like, well, your reach is going to be less because your post is competing with your second post. And I said, such is life. I'm willing to accept the terms of my own conditions.
So
Uh,
Heather knows herself, and then she knows that the herself will lack in strategy of some sort, but she's willing to do it because something is better than nothing. Throwing something up just because is not the best approach when it comes to marketing strategy. I see a lot of bakers do that, and then they get into this rigmarole like crickets. There's no one. I'm posting every day, and no one's commenting on anything. There's no strategy behind the post. What's the goal of each post? And that's what I tell people in the Cookie College. Before you post, say what is the purpose for this post? Because the strategy, there needs to be a goal for each post that you make.
mhm,
Is it to build a relationship? Is it
mhm.
to sell a class ticket? Is it to get to know your audience? Is it to tie yourself to a location?
Which those are content buckets. And I do like taking a strategy from the content bucket. You guys see me, content pillars, content buckets. I like it because it diversifies even your bare minimum effort. If you're like,
Yeah.
I only barely have time. Well, Corey the other day asked people to post pictures of their dogs and she had a ton of engagement because it was National Pet Day. And she didn't go and pipe 50 dog cookies. She was like, here's my dog. That was it. It wasn't even a cookie. It was a dog.
Here, and I even talked about it today in the Cookie College. The reason I have a bulldog cookie, but it's not necessary just to say my name, Mixing Bowl Cookie Co. They know I bake. So how can I move past that to build a relationship with them so that when they think cookies, they think Corey? I am Corey that happens to work at Mixing Bowl Cookie Company. It used to say, I'm Mixing Bowl Cookie Company that
That happens
happens
to
to
work at
be,
Court.
yeah, happens to work at Corey, happens to be Corey. So you see the ebb and flow as some marketing strategy become oversaturated because everyone starts doing them. It turns to something else, and you'll see more relationship based influencer marketing, people falling in love with you, and then the things you like is what they like now too.
I think it was Jaleesa who said, don't sleep on relationship marketing. It's performing really well right now. And she went and posted pictures of herself as a kid. I think it was a trend that was coming up and it just performed better than
Yeah.
anything else. And it's not that like people don't want to see cookies anymore. I think they want to see diversity in content.
Yeah,
So
and
it's like cookies,
you're
cookies,
gonna
cookies.
sprinkle your sales in there. I
Got
promise you
to.
that.
Got to. So yeah, it's kind of mixing it up and stuff. And what did work 5 years ago, what did work 5 weeks ago may not work today. Trends die, those little funny things. Corey's been posting them to the Sugar Cookie
I
marketing page.
really have. Honestly, the car pickup line has been my like creative.
Here's the thing is some of those trends are so time sensitive. They have a shelf life that Corey, I
Yeah.
know you're looking at that, be like, I can't use that when it's gone. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so you could jump on the trends. That's a content bucket that's really fun. And then within the trends, she's posting videos, which are counted as reels or TikToks, if you want to call them, depending on the application that she's using. But on TikTok, we wouldn't post. But you could just see it's got to be a zhuzhed up mix. And sometimes your content bucket will get the axe when it's no longer performing.
Yeah.
Sponsors, we have Cookie Design Lab. Code Twins is 15% off. Bakety Bake, code Twins is 10% off. What's Popping Con? Now we've gotten everyone almost on the same code. What's Popping Con is code Twins for $25 off, but code Twins also works on Daisy Makes. Uh,
Nice.
Primary and Eddie, we'll have her as a guest, hopefully at the end of this month. That's when we scheduled it for. I think it was the 28th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20, yeah, one of those Tuesdays.
It's a Tuesday, 28th. Got it. It's on your calendar, twin.
Thank you, twin.
Eddie, the edible food printer, if Corey does a little bio about her coach order, she
I did.
incorporated Eddie. She did hand piped with Eddie and then all Eddie and was able to secure the order in such a short period of time using Cookie Design Lab for a custom cutter.
I want to tell Coach, you literally squeezed every ounce of knowledge and utility out of this business for this order.
So yes, the Eddie came in clutch for a more complex design. It was a stack of three books, actually.
Yeah, with the C's on top, Coach has the design, it's a repeating C. It would have been too hard to try to pipe that, let me tell you.
However, that was the most important cookie because it had the tagline on it for the set, I think.
Yeah, share your story. And that was the
Yeah,
whole goal of the campaign.
right. I think it's so funny how these big corporations are like finding cookie bakers because you can see it with Sephora did it. Neiman Marcus does it for these like drops of products. I can see it
I
now.
do want to say though, 1,000% it comes from my website and SEO. I could tell the point of contact at Coach found my website, then I confirmed that I could take the order. Then she went and followed me on social media with her personal account.
Yeah.
So it was definitely she Googled that.
Hey, it's part of marketing. Bosch and Nutrimill, not a sponsor, but an affiliate. If you use code Sugar Cookies at checkout, you get $20 off. Now they're launching a new product soon. I'm not allowed to talk about it yet, but I did send it to Corey. You didn't respond, I don't think.
I did, and you didn't respond back.
Did
I
you
had a
think it was
question.
cool?
I
I
said,
don't
"What
know.
is this?" And so I can't think if it's cool because I don't know what it is.
So you can see what you're doing.
I didn't understand what I
Well,
was
I'm not the
looking
baker,
at.
but they're coming out with something soon. I think I can post about it on the 30th. But I think the discount code works for that as well. So I'll post about it then. Corey, do you have a Twinterest?
Do you
No,
have
don't
a
spin that
twin
one around on
twist?
me. Don't
Do
spin that one around. Yeah, I went to Power
you?
Tools class.
Yeah.
So we have a dying mall. It's called Fair Oaks. And it's going to be knocked down and become an outside mall, like a walkable mall.
I'll believe that when I see it,
I
friend.
don't know. It's what happening. I'm so sorry. Walkable malls. If it's raining, I don't want to go to you. If it's snowing, you'll never see me.
I know. Have you ever been to Short Pump in Richmond?
Mm-mm. I've
It's a
heard it's cool.
walkable mall like that, but you wouldn't
Oh,
get rained on minus a few little open slots.
like the Leesburg outlets had to try to return something to me
That
the other
one you're
day.
just going to be rained on.
I think it has some awnings.
Oh,
I
nice.
mean, you're struggling on your way to the car, but you were going to
Sure.
do that anyways. I went to, so this dining mall has these leases that must be a lot more affordable. So any business is popping up there, and half of them are gone. But it was power tools. It was called Trade Works, spelled with an X. And it was a construction company that wanted to teach people the basics of carpentry, like the basics, not. So you could go in there and take a class. It was 4 hours, and they gave us, each of us had the Ryobi Power Tools intro set. And for 2 hours, they talked about what each tool did and what it cut and what was best for, what it wasn't best for. And then for the final 2 hours, we made and framed drywall. And then within the drywall, we cut a hole, like as if you were patching drywall. And then we cut a bunch of stuff. Like it was me and four men in their 50s.
You honestly
And
should have made a birdhouse and then you could have used it after.
I wish I did because I had to buy one for my cat. But yeah, now that I've taken intro to power tools, you could do a beginning intro to tiling. We could do chair molding, or I'm sorry, crown molding, and then you could go to chair molding. And then now you could go to drywall patching class, and then we'll be doing a painting class. So
A painting.
drywall
Not
painting.
painting.
No, no,
Sipping
no.
that's sip and paint. Got it. Okay,
Yeah, so
fine.
I thought I was like, I can't believe we could buy these tools where you could literally cut off your finger without a class. But he was like, yes. And it was really nice to just have somebody very confident in themselves teaching. And I'm sure at one point he could have thought nobody would take this class, but we all paid a couple $100 to go take this power tools class for 4 hours straight. One of the classes was 8 hours.
Wow.
And I bet you would leave knowing
You
exactly what
could
it was
leave
you're
with a
gonna do.
house ready, built, and ready to go.
So he was like, yeah, a lot of people don't want to hire an entire company. Like it's hard to get handyman these days. Like they're like, your project's not big enough for me to even like turn the car on and drive out there. And then
Yes.
when they come out there, they have to charge a minimum of like $500 because they're out there. So he was like, I think I can do most of this decently enough class.
And you know what? You probably appreciated that. That
I
was when we
really
went to
did.
the rug tufting class. We knew nothing of the sort.
Okay, you guys, people who have the excuse of I don't want to teach cookie classes, you're not teaching people how to compete on the cookie food network. You're literally teaching people who just said, maybe this is something fun. I have no idea what I'm doing. Just keep it basic. That's
Yeah, just keep it
the me's
basic.
out there. That's what we want.
I have a twintellect.
Okay, hit me.
I saw this video this past week and it says you can honestly choose the mood. You can choose the mood you're in. We oftentimes
This
let
is on
moods
TikTok.
happen to us. It was, but it
I
was so
saw
funny.
it.
Because Nate came home yesterday and he was in the nicest and happiest of moods. Like nothing bad could happen to him. The dog kept us up all night, so we had been both up since 3 a.m. And I was running on fumes by the time he got home. I said, "Did you catch a nap at work? Because you're in such a good mood here." No, he said, I spent the last 5 hours, a lady calling me worthless because I wouldn't arrest her son because he turned off the lights to the house and she didn't like it. And he said, I had the choice to go home to someone who thinks I'm worth something. And I said, why would I be in a bad mood when I'm in the presence of where I feel worth like something?
I like that. It's kind of like choosing your own adventure. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people kind of choose being grumpy
Well,
because
when they say, we did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed? Because one thing can throw your entire day off and you need another sleep
I
to
know, like you
reset
gotta
it.
write that you only have so many days on the planet of the Earth, and you're like, that one's crap. Like that one's out because I
That
had
one's
a
gone.
bad
A
minute.
whole wasted 24
I
hours because you're bad.
know.
But you could simply do something to reset it, whether if you reward yourself with your favorite cookie or a trip to Starbucks or a walk to reset your mood, you can reclaim the rest of your day. And that means the bad thing that happened doesn't own your entire day. You're actually taking the power back and owning your day, and you're more pleasant to be around.
Yeah, rumination is an interesting thing. They say it's the brain trying to solve an unsolvable situation. So you're like, well, you know what? And another thing I would have said, like, oh, you can't. That's why your brain is
Yeah.
ruminating on it because it's trying to fix what can't be fixed. So rumination, they say, like, obviously meditation and breathing exercises, why it sounds so pie in the sky, woo woo. It's really trying to retrain your brain to decide what it wants to think about versus what it defaults to thinking about.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said there with that breathing exercise stuff and lowering the cortisol because it feels like if I think about it, but what you're thinking about is turning into physical changes in your body.
Let me tell you, a few years ago, Heather knows I was diagnosed with chronic stress.
Yeah, and you were stressed.
chronic stress, but it manifested everything I was stressed about in my brain has then manifested. My body was actually being like, wow, we're fight or flight constantly. Your stomach is going to hurt for the rest of your life. And
Kidney failure.
yeah, the problem is I wish I was diagnosed with something that I could take a pill for because that's easy. I had to come to grips with the things that were stressing me out so I could overcome stress. It took a year, but Heather got me this weird thing called a Call Me Go. I know we've talked about it before, but it's breath work. And honestly, your anxiety can, when you have anxious anxiety, you turn into fight or flight. Your breath gets more and more shallow. You get more and more anxious. It's a vicious cycle, but slowing down your breathing and deep in, deep out, deep in for a solid 2 minutes can actually reset the whole trigger into spiraling.
I was listening to that book Ashley told me to read together, and I know she's definitely not reading it anymore.
Yeah.
Called The Dose Effect, but it's studying the four chemicals of dopamine, serotonin, something. But it was like a lot of this can be manufactured by going outside. And they're like, and it doesn't require a pill. Being outside in the daylight hours has a massive effect on your mood.
I was listening to this because I've told Heather I'm trying to get 10,000 steps a day.
And she's
sometimes
getting
they hit it.
They're all
sometimes
pill.
Sometimes I don't. But the benefits of walking, they did a trial where they had a group of people that actually took anti-anxiety meds for 16 weeks. The other group actually walked for 16 weeks. Both experienced less anxiety, but the ones who walked actually didn't have any of the side effects that you get when you have the antidepressants, like low energy, weight gain, things like that, moodiness. So, I mean,
you tell us, guys, we're just a sack of chemicals that has a brain that loves to ruin our day. You tell me.
You chronic stress, you tell me.
You tell me. The body would tell you.
The body keeps the scores, Heather. Another book she likes to read.
That's a good book. That's a long book. It's a long book to listen to. I don't read anything. Okay, guys, we're going to cut you loose. We'll see you next week on Tuesday. We'll have since returned from What's Popping Con in Kent, Ohio. Refreshed, 10 hours in the car together. What more could you want?
What more could you possibly want?
Okay, goodbye, twin. Enjoy your hike.
Bye.